Hello.
Well, hello there, world.
I think it's just the most awkwardly choreographed live stream ever.
But it's not like a normal Google Hangouts thing. I mean, it's face to face, so obviously it's better.
It's intimate. I'll give it
very.
that. It's very intimate setting for a live stream. It's special. And right here we have our boys. We have
Our dear friends.
my wooden Arthur, and the chair is a little lopsided, but as you can see,
Is
we
the
have
Trackmaster
Jason's
that much
Thomas there
heavier?
too. And worlds have collided, as you can see on your screen right now. And Jason and I are going to be watching Sodor's Treasure of the Lost Legend.
My favorite.
It's a great film. And yeah, so I don't know if people are watching this, but if you are, then
Currently 15 viewers?
15, 16.
Maybe that's 18. I can't see from this far away.
As long as it's not like 10,000, I won't be upset.
17, 18. We're getting there. We're getting there. We'll see how high this gets.
All right, so you guys might be able to hear glimmers of the film, but I think I'm gonna play it, and we'll just see what happens.
The laptop down here that we're watching it from, so you won't see it, but you'll see our reactions to it.
That's pretty exciting.
Let's check the comments.
Okay.
See how things
Is
are
it
going.
launching? Oh, come on, mover, move for me. Moving pictures. Let's go. Oh no.
Subscriptions.
Come on, buddy. No family now.
Matt.
Yeah.
Look at this. How did he get it?
The bat, Thomas?
No.
Oh, Etienne. I don't know how.
How did he get that?
I was like, I didn't know.
We
that.
work for freaking Mattel and we can't get this stuff.
Well, that's because we work for Mattel that we don't get stuff.
Stupid.
For some reason, my Lost Treasure film isn't playing. So we're just going to have to rely on our charm and personalities to carry us through this moment. Oh, I swear what you
In the
mean.
cool viewings.
Oh, in the cool. Well, I don't know about this one. But we can check.
I mean, worst case scenario.
All right. To prove that I'm actually working on something. How is that?
Oh my gosh, the comments are blowing up. I finally got them loaded. Sorry, people. We have
some technical difficulties.
Yes. Let's see.
Oh, you know what? It's because I don't got the Wi-Fi going. So let me fix it.
Blowing up. I finally got them loaded. Sorry.
Oh no. Oh, I think I fixed parts of it. Yeah. How are you guys? How's it going where you are? Success. Okay, I got this going. Ah. Uh-huh.
You guys hear that?
All right. Going in.
Dun dun dun. Okay, I've concluded that this chair, like,
got it. No.
You guys just watched that. That was fantastic.
Oh, no.
It just happened live.
Oh no. Okay, I'm back. What I thought I didn't even get it. Oh my gosh. No. I just got the internet to work.
Everyone's now laughing
Oh no.
that you.
I don't know why I'm not getting it to play. I think I'm gonna delete it.
Taylor says, "Go home, Matt. You're drunk."
Empty trash. Got it. Go to rented. What? How do I still? That's a good sign the blue bar is loading.
Dun dun dun.
Oh my goodness gracious.
This is fantastic.
All right, well, do you have any words of wisdom or just something that... All right, that opening thing is playing, but why isn't anything else? Okay, store.
By chance, is there a pirated one on YouTube you could have loading in the background just in case?
It's probably smarter. Yeah, let me check it out. Yeah, there's definitely a few pirated ones. We could even watch the UK dub, which is not slowed down for some reason. I don't want to know the reason. I think it would make me sad.
Let's just go with the US one. That's what I'm familiar with. That's what I'm nostalgia of.
I think I got some nostalgia. All right. Uh-oh, did he get
Taylor
taken
just
down?
asked if there's a mirror in the room.
There might be.
Is over there, but why would you want us to have one?
Caleb, your remake is the first thing that came up. Okay, maybe Sodor's Legend.
Oh my gosh, now everyone's saying UK dub, UK dub.
Well, the UK dub is pretty good.
It is, it is. I don't know, I think there's good and bad in both. So
Yeah.
yeah, okay, this chair will not.
Thomas and Friends is made possible in part by and by contributions to your PBS station from.
No.
It stayed! Okay, I'm gonna lower it.
I found it.
You did?
There we go.
Yay for pirates.
Thank
Which
you.
is funny because we're watching Legend of the Lost Treasure, so it's quite appropriate.
Thank you, Slow Motion Central, for pirating this movie. And sorry for too much leg on this side.
Island of Sodor. Thomas the
Okay.
Tank Engine was working on his grandson.
This is a classic opener.
Keep an eye out for Birdie, Clarabelle.
Oh, it's the US
I don't
dub.
want him taking me by surprise.
The good one. Oh wait, no, I might cause a debate if I say that.
Oh, no, we don't want to cause ruffled feelings.
It's not like that ever happens in the community of people who love the Toy Train series.
We know
Toy Train
poor
series.
Annie and Clarabelle are just being dragged along against their will. There's the bus.
You know I'm going to win.
Oh my god.
Okay, isn't the lighting significantly better in like this sequence than it ever is in our like animation, like before and after this
Oh,
movie?
absolutely. And the fact that they have the fences and everything, and there's more bushes and the rows of trees there, just like the little things here, make the generic countryside look better than it ever does.
It really does.
Points. That was the movie after this one.
Yeah. That bad trend wasn't going on during this time. The community was still pure in 2015, you know?
I wish there was a post-credit scene of Raoul in this movie, just setting up the events of the Great War. This is what we were gonna get, what we were in for.
Thomas and friends will return in. Oh wait, no, that's not.
I love this intro sequence, and it's so simple.
It really is.
I love the music so much.
I think the best things in general about like Thomas movies that have been coming out nowadays are when they're actually like things that are steam train like related, like actual train stuff. Like I love how the adventure begins is literally just a story about Thomas as a train. Like, it's not pirates or dinosaurs or like any of these other things. Like it's literally just being a train. And I love how this opening is like.
Oh, shush for a second.
Oh.
It's my favorite musical part of the special. Please continue.
It's glorious. Not
Let's just revel in that.
That was great. And then of course the beautiful far shot. So I don't like how there's actually two platforms. That's personally just me. Like I'm classic series purist, I guess, and I can see why they did it, but I think it's still weird.
Yeah, I think in Thomas and the Babysitter, they make it a literal loop instead of like a junction loop.
Yeah.
So Thomas curves around past the station and does like a turns around that way.
I think one of the things that bugs me about it is that it's like literally that they just like copied and pasted the platform onto the other side. Like it's not like connected across, like the building's literally dividing the two platforms. So you like have to walk through it, like the platform isn't open, which I think is just kind of weird.
Yeah, sometimes with art, I think it's less work to do it right.
Yeah.
In some situations. But it doesn't bother me too much. Like, I just love that it came back in this movie. When it was Adventure Begins, it came back in Adventure Begins, and then it came.
It's the most important part of the whole railway. It'll always be Sir Topham Hatt's #1 engine.
Until it gets covered.
Oh, isn't the glossy paint how you can see the reflection of the clouds like glorious? That classic series feel, having that shine.
They put so much extra effort too. Like they put an abandoned mid-Sodor building in the sequence. I like that a lot.
That is gorgeous.
With the
like,
I don't know.
How did we go from season 17 garbage animation to that? Like, that is beautiful.
Well, I think it's because the company, they cut the deal with Nitrogen, and then ARC had to like learn it from top to bottom. And when they mastered it, they did an incredible job.
It's just crazy that it's the same company. Like, you wouldn't have believed. And I mean, in such short time too. I mean, Tale the Brave to this, like, you wouldn't believe it. That's just a year.
It was also the 70th anniversary.
Yeah.
About their aching. I'm wondering if people can even hear the movie through the screen.
Can you guys hear it? I'll check the.
Okay.
You want to pause it for a moment?
Sure. All right. Don't fall this time.
Not again.
Hello, party people. For those.
Sam the Train fan. Oh my gosh, Jason, stop complaining about the animation.
Poor Sam. He's getting attacked way too much lately for his rendering.
Yeah.
Stuff. It's okay.
That's okay. For the most part, we like all agree upon it. So
Oliver needs to be scaled up. I'm glad they like made the effort to fix stuff because that means they've listened.
Yeah.
But the bar thing, I wouldn't have noticed if Sam hadn't brought that up.
That's true. Although I do disagree with Sam on that. I think the corrections are better. Like, at least they tried. I like that. That's all that matters to me.
Duck is improved, but the buffer thing too, I did not notice until Sam pointed that out. And like when I watched his video, I was like, oh my god, that infuriates me. But Sam, if you didn't tell me that, I would have been okay with it.
I never realized either how overscaled James was. Like, I subconsciously thought it because, like, I looked at him and I was like, man, like, I was looking at the faces of the engines and I was like, man, some of the engines just have like really big faces compared to the others. And it didn't seem like that in the model series, but I thought that, but this is because I thought that Nitrogen literally measured the models like exactly and just replicated them into the CGI counterparts. So at least for like the original stuff for season like 13 and Hero of the Rails, I didn't realize that that was not the case. And James is clearly evidence of that because he is ridiculously oversized.
You know, like what they did with Gordon to make him bigger than he was in the models was great.
Mm-hmm.
But to make James feel like he could fit in with Henry and Gordon and be a big engine and outclass Edward, they scaled him up.
Yeah.
But the problem is when you look at his footplate and the way his driver and fireman are situated, his window is here and they're like down here, kind of squatting at it. And he's like the viewer believes James is bigger and stronger than Edward simply because of the number of drive wheels he has.
Yeah.
And the size is probably more for the kids, so they see him as a bigger engine.
I guess so. But like you watch, well, there's two things that I noticed with when James is pulling the Red Express coaches in season 20. It's like, whoa, like look at that versus like the Trouble with Mud in season 3, and it's like, okay, James's cab is like way above the coaches, whereas like. And his tender is like equal height, whereas in the like classic series, and it's down lower where it should be. And then watching Old Iron again, how James and Edward side by side are like the exact same size, and then like, is it all in vain when they're next to each other? That just shows how like off it is now.
And I really don't like how all the buffers on Sodor are scaled to Thomas's front buffer beam, so they're all too low for everything else.
Yeah.
And like. Poor Porter and Philip, like they can't push anything because the buffers are here and they've been scaled down to here. And when you see that, it's just like, oh no.
Which is interesting because like I feel like the model series handled it well, like the buffer issue.
I've never seen that. Like Thomas was the odd one out. His beam was lower, but that's the way it was supposed to be because it had to be straightened after Thomas comes to breakfast.
But what was I going to say? The one shot, I think it's in Saving Time, where like the brake van's buffers are like outside of someone else's buffers. I mean, it's in The Adventure Begins. We have like 2 sets of buffers, and they're clearly not aligned from the overhead shot. And it's like, I don't think that ever happened in the model series. Like,
No, it never did.
Yeah, I mean, there might have been the height difference, but there was never like that scaling issue.
Yeah.
So, okay. No one said if they could hear the movie or not. So
as long as they're having fun, like we're just kind of jibber jabbering.
I think so. I don't. 33 are currently watching. We picked a very odd time to stream.
This is Thursday night, in a very intimate setting. There you go.
We have great lighting, though. I mean, for the.
It's very well lit. I was doubting these lamps, but
they pulled through for us. Probably one of the better lit live streams I've ever seen. So, considering there is no daylight, actually. So.
How to host a super duper slumber party.
What can we say? We host the best.
Oh my god. I'm so happy that Marion got to be in the special in like a bigger way than Tale of the Brave, because her part was, I loved her introduction in the movie, but she didn't have much to do.
Yeah.
Besides save Percy's life, of course.
Yeah.
Falling dinosaur head.
And that's what they need to do with these new characters, is build upon them. Like the fact that Marion went from this movie, well, from Tell the Brave to this movie and played a part of it, and then Philip went from season 19 to The Great Race. Like having those things where it's like, okay, they get their introduction, they get their merchandise, they get all that, but then like they're actually used as a part of the story later and are like, you know, actual characters, not just like a marketing scheme. Like I think that's the best.
It's great because out of the 4 characters, like, you know, Reg, we don't really see. Timothy, not really.
Yeah.
Gator left. Like Marion became part of the world, and she's kind of cemented her role into it, which is great.
Oh, for sure, for sure.
So it's like out of the 4 to 6 newbies that come in, one of them will sort of settle in and become part of everything. Yeah, should we continue?
I think we shall.
We will continue.
Actually, I really need a drink of water.
Okay, then I'll hold the fort.
Okay, you hold the fort with Arthur and Thomas for me.
All right, the boys are back in town. So there's Toad. I feel really bad. I've been looking at Bert's wheels, and I don't understand how they're supposed to work and how they're not supposed to work, but I know there's an animation error because I've been on the wiki. If someone can explain to me what's up with Bert's wheels, that would be really helpful.
Okay, I did not find any cups, but I found a smart little blow dryer, okay?
Oh, for like the wind-blown look for my hair?
Yes.
That'd be excellent.
Actually, we could live stream demonstrate how I do my hair in the morning for those who are curious.
All right. There's a movie called Magic Railroad, and Magic is done a lot better in Lost Treasure than it is in Magic Railroad.
Oh, it really is. There's the glasses. Those are actually glasses.
Oh.
I mean, everyone wishes they could be a digger.
Oh.
No, Marion. There are other ways to help besides digging, you know.
Toad is huge.
Toad's size does not fit his personality either.
I know. Here's the construction yard.
I love this part.
Duck, you're huge.
Oh, the fan service.
Everyone has a problem with this scene.
I think it's a wasted opportunity. Like, I'm gonna pause it really fast. I think that this scene with Donald and Douglas and Duck is a wasted line because it's like, where have you been? Like, we haven't seen you in forever. But that's a great line to use in the series, but why did they use it on Donald and Douglas, who were in season 12? So, like, they were here 6 seasons ago. Like, what they should have done is waited for, like, Boko or like someone who hasn't appeared since like season 5 or 4, like, and use that line on them, that would have been perfect. But like, to waste it on Donald and Douglas was kind of lame. But
and they have personality too. Like they could have had a running joke that started here, and every time Donald and Douglas appeared in the film, that would be like their little part because they deliver the pirate ship. I think Donald or Douglas, they almost fall into the cavern. And at the end, they have a little bit of dialogue. And and the ship being discovered too. They have a part there too.
Well, you know, I wonder if it was like the writers didn't initially put Donald and Douglas in, like they were told like, no, we can only render so many engines and stuff. So like they capped it at a certain amount, and so they were told that they couldn't. So they wrote out the whole story, and it was other characters that did those specific things. And then they got told, hey, we actually have room to do it, so we can like throw in these things. And so that's why they've been like given lame parts, because originally those parts just belonged to someone else. So they were given more generic roles. There's
a draft of this film somewhere where it's like steam team everywhere. You know, like it's not Donald and Douglas, it's like Henry and Emily and stuff. But it makes sense that they're working in the Little Western. It's really great. It was nice seeing Stanley and even Samson hanging out there too, because they can be anywhere.
Yeah, I think the combination of old and new is perfect. Like I think that's the best part about what the current series is able to do, with the fact that they can take the fun that we had back then, and they can take something new and create something even like more interesting stories. Because I mean, there's so many great personalities. Like the new characters that they've created recently are just like phenomenal in personality, and then to mix them with like Audrey's like original characters that also had a lot of personality, I mean, it makes for some fun stories. And that's one thing that your series is really captured and like brought to light, is the combinations of characters you normally wouldn't see together.
I have like a weird neurotic pleasure in making really weird combinations. That's why I love this movie, because you have the pack, the small engines, so many of Audrey's originals, and new characters like Skiff.
Yeah.
Who, when I thought going into this movie, Skiff was one of the stupidest ideas. I just did not think I was going to like it. Skiff is not one of my favorite characters.
Yeah.
They've handled him so brilliantly.
I would have never imagined either the stories that they were able to create from Skiff. Like, I mean, watching this movie back in...
Was that a scream or a car crash
that was
of some kind?
Something.
That haunted my dreams.
Goodness. What was I saying? Oh, Skiff. So the thing about him is, like, watching in 2015, in like September 2015, and seeing this whole movie and seeing how it played out with him and Sailor John, it was interesting to have that, you know, abused character personality that got to be there. But I left watching that movie and I was kind of like, he's probably just gonna be like pushed to the side like a lot of other characters that they've introduced and stuff. Like, I don't see him getting much of a spotlight. I mean, he's a boat, for Pete's sake. And then I would have not imagined that a year later, a little over a year, that we'd be watching season 20 and we'd get like some of the best episodes of all time with him. Like, that's just crazy.
And the more I think about it, the more that I think Skiff is interesting enough to carry a spin-off on his own, because his workplace is so unique. Because you have the railway and you have the sea, and he's the one character that can commingle in both.
Yeah.
And you have like the Duck and Oliver and Toad banter on land, and there's so much more antics you can get to at sea.
Yeah.
Like, if you made it into a show, you'd probably add a few boat characters, and it would be Skiff sort of coming to terms with being in water too, because he wants to be on land, but has to do things in the sea. And Allsboro is just so beautiful.
Yeah, exactly.
So that'd be a great way to handle it, because people are like, oh, Birdie should get a spin-off. I'm like, well, actually, I think it should be Skiff.
Yeah. I felt like Captain was the most underutilized character from Misty Island Rescue. Like, because when you watched Hero of the Rails, you had Hero, Victor, and Kevin appear, who all had prominent roles in the movie. Like, they actually contributed to the plot and stuff. And so when I saw the merchandise in the books for Misty Island Rescue, and it was like, there's also going to be this boat character, I was like, well, that's going to be interesting. I mean, finally they'll be able to make boat toys that aren't just Bulstrode, who hasn't appeared in like 20 years in the series. And so I was super excited to see that. But then, I mean, his like actual involvement was so minimal, and I was hoping that they'd actually like even one of those terrible 3 strikes and you're out stories. Like I thought they'd finally make one about Captain, but they never did. Like he is so underutilized, and I'd love to see like him and Skiff have like some story together where they and they talk about it. So
it'd be the perfect combo. Like there's like one scene where Captain tugs a barge in this Down Rescue, I think. And I think like just the opportunity to bring boats into the show, like I'm sure that would be appealing to older fans in a way to have a tugboat character, maybe at Brendan Docks or something.
Yeah.
But what has Captain done? He arrested Sailor John. He found the globe. He searched everywhere for Steven in the ocean.
I just realized how stupid that was.
They sent Captain to look for Steven in the ocean.
Now I'm gonna fall off. Oh my gosh. I think at that point, if Captain found him, I don't know what use it would be anyway.
One of my favorite season 19 jokes is like, there's a problem on land, and the whole rescue team wants to help, and Captain's like, I'm ready. Like, you can't do anything. Just stay in your boat house. Poor Captain. Give him an episode. That would be a great surprise.
That really would be.
That'd be really nice.
I feel like there's potential. Like, what's even his personality? Like, do we even know really much about his character? Like, he's just kind of there.
He can say nautical terms, like batter my broadside and stuff like that. But yeah, not really much. He just like, yeah.
See,
not much with Captain.
I feel like with those characters, the ones that were left empty pretty much, or like just plain by the people who originally wrote those characters in, I feel like the current team, instead of like, I don't know if they're like trying to respect someone else's work and it's like, okay, I'm not gonna like do something to your character that you didn't initially plan for, but I feel like they should just go in and, you know, make the character interesting. Like, I don't know if they necessarily need to do what they did like with Rosie every single time, like, because it seems like what they're doing with her is kind of extreme. I'm interested to see what actually happens with it, but like, but to just bring that character more to the front and give them more interesting things to happen in the series, like, I think that's great. Like, seriously, bring back Neville and make him have some crazy story and like give him more personality and stuff.
Like, I would even say that back in that era of the show, there was no vision behind the character, or very little bits at the time.
It was just to make the toy.
Like, Neville's a bad example, but Molly and Dennis had at least a shred of personality, because Molly was shy and not sure of herself, and Dennis was lazy and scheming, and he would try to get out of work. You can work with that and work your way up.
Yeah.
But currently there are characters in the show that fulfill those roles better, because Daisy is probably the better version of Dennis. And with Molly, I feel like the shyness and not being sure of oneself, that's like Luke. And there's probably other characters that I'm not thinking of that fulfill the role too. I would love to see them back, honestly. Like, I feel like there's a place for every character to return at one point.
And Daisy's a perfect example of taking something that was good and just making it better. Like,
I'm amazed at how sassy she was in season 20. Like, I wanted her to come. She was my top choice before she wasn't back. She was my top choice to come back because she is just a rabble rouser. She's sassy. She just makes everything just. She was hilarious. I really enjoyed all of her episodes, and I'm amazed she had 4 appearances, and 3 of them were big roles in season 20.
I think it was you who even said too, like, how it's just, it's so impressive that they made a whole episode over the fact that in just one episode, for like 30 seconds, it was shown that she had a dislike towards the coaches and that they disliked her, and then they made a whole episode that was all about that. Like,
and it carries into the other episodes.
Yeah.
And the way she does it, Annie and Claire will just roll her eyes at her, and I love how that rivalry is never resolved and probably will never be resolved.
It's perfect.
That's really cool. Oh.
Yeah. Should we check the comments really fast and see?
Yeah, just in case.
Oh, I lost the puppy.
Oh. Yeah, Jason brought a puppy.
Hey, Matt, where's your puppy?
Arthur's my puppy.
Oh.
Arthur's my puppy that gets me through life.
I think Watson might be a little jealous.
Oh, don't tell Watson about this live stream.
I won't.
Oh, Liz Productions is from Wisconsin. That's where my mom grew up.
Oh, that's cool.
Party time. How are the comments? Are people throwing wine bottles at their TV screens? Well, everyone subscribe to Aurora Ortiz. When he gets 50,000 subscribers, he's going to release his Will You, Won't You? And it's gonna knock your socks off. So you should do that. Don't take my word for it. Okay.
Matt, please read this comment in the middle.
Wait.
I don't think people would have realized who is next to you.
I'm gonna have to say that theory is correct. Oh man. Scarlowy Railway 01's GIF or GIF, I don't know how to pronounce it, is everything. Honestly, maybe we don't have to finish the movie. We could just talk Thomas for a bit and then clear.
We could. It's kind of fun though because it gives us things to talk about.
That is true.
I guess if you want to play,
Okay, I'll
press play.
dive.
There's not really too much going on in the live chat. We have 41 people watching right now.
Yeah, we picked a really weird time.
We did. 41 people at midnight on a Thursday.
Oh man.
Their voice actors are great too. Who does it?
Joe Mills is Donald Douglas in this movie, and Stephen Kinman is a Duck.
Okay. Yeah, such a good job.
And now Stephen Kinman does Peter, Sam, Duck, Paxton, and Ryan.
All good characters. No good voices for characters. They have dynamite in this movie. I just love that.
Like before this movie, I was like, they'll never do dynamite, they'll never do explosions. And then Sailor John throws dynamite at Thomas in this movie.
They definitely, you know, push the limits on some of these things to, you know, market towards kids, like to the not what parents would approve of, but I mean, like dropping Thomas and, you know, molten metal and like Thomas jumping the bridge and like I love how Unlucky Tug said in his Great Race review, like Brenner nearly killed Thomas 4 times in this film. Like, so funny.
Oh, I wish Miss Jenny was rendered for the background in this film.
Oh, that would have been great.
But I love that Oliver has an Irish accent to reflect Miss Jenny. I
Yeah.
think that's a really cool, a detail that was unprecedented, but they just did the research and thought about doing that.
Yeah.
He's never been portrayed that way.
Yeah.
Wake up,
Oh,
lazy
what
Hershey's only line in this movie.
Oh, really? I didn't realize that.
I say,
One thing I actually don't like about season 20 is that the branch line itself, or like the Ryan and Daisy's branch line, doesn't actually appear like what they were constructing in this movie. Like it's just generic countryside in season 20, and I hate that because it's like, no, you built a defined branch line, have it take place there. Like,
And maybe it's like a designated part of it, but I want to see the full flow. Like, where do you go to get to Harwick? Where does the forest end? What
Yeah.
happens? That would be good. Nice to see.
I heard that, Thomas.
But you are lazy, Gordon. Otherwise, you'd get your own coaches.
You know full well.
Thomas is
that
actually cheeky in these latest movies, and I love it.
That's what silly little tank engines are for.
Silly little tank engines? Well, maybe this silly little tank engine should
Oh, it's
take
gonna
the
mess up.
express today. Bye, Gordon.
Thomas, what are you doing? Come back with my
Oh no, like 23 people are watching. It literally dropped.
Oh,
Oh, Thomas, look up.
well, Toby knows his signals.
Since when?
Since now.
Uh-oh. What have I done?
I like how it's still going. The accident.
Maximante.
Do you think they'll render the others in the pack?
I think Byron, Kelly, and maybe Ned.
You think so?
Yeah, they'd be the ones.
But like, when do you think they'll do it? Do you think they'll try and include them in another movie, or do you think that they'll like down the road in the series?
I think what they'll do is in a movie they'll make the construction home base, and like most of them will be rendered. They're building a new big thing, and it'll be like a super warehouse construction yard with multiple levels. It's really cinematic, and maybe they'd also make a new character that was like rail construction oriented, like a construction railway crane that lived there.
That'd be cool.
And that would be like a way to add new to it. But you need to bring in Miss Jenny. If they'll render the small controller and oh my gosh,
And the fat clergyman.
in the fact, what's his name?
Teddy Boston.
If they render Teddy Boston, render Miss Jenny.
Exactly. Wait, she was already in CGI for season 12?
I'm pretty sure she was.
That just makes it even more ridiculous then.
I think this even has a background thing, but it's been so nice.
It would have been. I think there's a reason why she wasn't in. Like I love how Stanley just like, you know, it's there in the background. Like stuff is going on.
Yes, he did. I love how Diesel's in the background when Thomas gets in trouble in the scene. He's just like making all these faces at him. I love that.
Gordon must have been at the wrong platform, sir, and Emily was coming in very fast. And
No, Thomas. It wasn't Gordon or Emily who caused this accident. It was you.
But
Perhaps you should spend some time shunting cars in the construction yard.
the construction yard? What do you mean, sir?
I'm sending you to work on the new branch line, Thomas. Maybe that'll help you think about being a little less cheeky.
But sir, what about my branch line? Branch line? I think that's where I'm meant to be working.
Look, it's Eddie Redmayne.
Ryan, I'm new Tank Engine. You're here.
I never actually realized until a couple months ago
Ryan,
who his like
let's get
voice
started.
actor actually was. Like I knew it was someone famous that they had chosen, but I didn't realize it was the same guy from Fantastic Beasts.
It wasn't Fantastic Beasts yet. It was The Theory of Everything. He
Yeah.
got the Oscar for it just before he took the role.
Mhm.
I feel bad. Oh, no, it's The Theory of Everything.
See, my friend Lexi was like going off about him when we went and saw Fantastic Beasts, and I was like, wait a second, I think he voices a character in Thomas, and then I looked up and I was like, oh, he's Ryan's voice, or at least was for the movie. Who's his voice now?
Stephen Kinman.
Okay, because I think he did a great job. Like I mean, you hardly noticed the difference.
I just wish that Eddie Redmayne could sound like Eddie Redmayne and not like try to do like a helium voice.
Yeah.
That's probably be more appealing to kids.
Hello? What's this?
I'm going to sing soon.
Ooh, yes. Who would have thought we'd ever see the small engine sing? Like, I mean, let alone appear, but then instead, like, have a song?
I think it was a great way to make us happy, but also make the kids see them as different and fun. However, the red trucks that were rescaled to be small railway trucks, I'm having a hard time with.
Are there, so there is no sort of troublesome trucks on the small railway then? I think that limits plot potential with them.
Even when we're the ones on top.
But the Arlesdale wagons look so good.
They do. Just gotta enjoy this song. The ones are really useful too. Should we just sing along?
We shouldn't.
Make them extra full. For knowing a job that I couldn't try.
I'm saying this in the mic voice, I'm not as alone.
We can take you where you wanna go. We might
Made a
have
tiny track, but
We'll get you there and back.
hold on to your hats.
We don't go slow. If you think the figure's better, then you're making a mistake.
People that made fun of my height all day. This is why I voice Mike and Frank in my series, because I spiritually identify with them people.
I'm also really tall. You gotta understand that. I'm like 6'4", so I'm not average, and he's like short. It's like I'm tall and he's average.
I met up with Turtles and Times, and they're also very tall people. It's just the luck of the cards I've had so far.
Never overlook a little engine like Matt. You know, it must have been hard for them to decide the track layout for this set, because, I mean, they had the Railway series books to go off of, but it's like, it changes so much through the series too. Because, like, they wanted to make it like how it was in their first appearance, but then they wanted to also, like, have the change too for when the different, so like, they can have passenger trains and whatnot. So that had to be difficult for them to decide, like, what the set defined layout is. So, because like in the Railway series and Oliver the Great Western Engine, like there's like, well, the counterpart of Callan Station there on the side, and like the sheds, and like that's where Bulgy was and all that. Like, so that must have been interesting for them to try and work that out.
I don't like the walkway they added.
I don't either.
Because there's also not even a station building, and they call it a station. Like
it's a signal box. Yeah.
It's a signal box. So maybe they'll work on that, but the footbridge just, you couldn't see the ballast hopper.
Yeah, exactly. Like I didn't like how
this scene is like Pixar level choreography.
Oh, it really is.
Especially when he comes, I was like tumbling down. I was very surprised when Thomas showed me. Also, the remakes fans have done this scene have impressed me so much, especially Brendan's. Brendan's remake of the Cavern Fall.
So impressive.
It's so crazy.
I'll probably never attempt to remake this scene.
But did Caleb do one too?
I'm not sure.
Oh, I did the Sparks for Steve Garcia, and Waro did a really good one.
Yeah. I mean, this was like the clickbait video of 2015, I'm sure. So.
Like, it's just so well choreographed, I almost believe that it's feasible in real life.
Yeah.
Almost.
I still don't understand if it's...
I hate the slow motion.
I think it's funny. I really do. Okay, so you know the Play-Rail playset that came out of this, and how it has the scratched up Thomas? Like, I actually don't like it because it's going in Play-Rail's new trend of making everything more cartoony and stuff. And I don't like how Thomas, instead of having like, you know, the scratched up front, it's just like gray.
Yeah, it's kind of like he's covered in paint.
Yeah, and it literally looks like a cartoon, like how they covered him up. Like, I would have loved to have like some texture in it. So that's something Hit Toys would have done. So.
Brian just looks like he could have been in a Railway series book.
He does.
He fits into the world really.
He really does.
I'm amazed how beat up Thomas got in this movie.
So good.
It's not my fault, sir. Nobody warned me to look out for danger signs.
No, Thomas. I don't want to hear your excuses.
But sir, there was something else.
No.
Down in the cabin.
Take it to the steamworks, Emily, please.
You know, the relationship between Thomas and Sir Topham Hatt is interesting just for the year of 2015. And the fact that the adventure begins goes into like their first interaction and that kind of fatherly bond that Sir Topham Hatt gets with Thomas. And then you have this where it's just like the parent that is so annoyed with that particular child that it's like, get him out of the way. Like, they're into all your time out. I'm done with you. Like,
like I have to say, in this movie, when people said Sir Topham Hatt was too harsh, I always disagreed because derailing the Express puts lives at risk.
Yeah.
And that's why Thomas was in the doghouse from the get-go.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think it's all justified.
I never realized that they rendered a narrow gauge flatbed.
That's not what I heard.
like an actual narrow gauge flatbed.
As quickly as possible.
Not even a rescaled one. That's awesome.
Apparently they rendered a gunpowder wagon with the rails in one shot. I can't believe that. Jason showed me that today because I didn't believe that existed, and I love that. I can't. Why did they do that?
I don't know. Like, I always wonder about those things where like someone spent all that time working on it, and it's like, oh yeah, I didn't actually get like featured very much. Like, yeah, so I know you spent all that time, you know, making the gunpowder wagon and stuff, but yeah, do you see it like in the background there, like tilted on its side there? Yeah, that's it. Like,
Sounds like looking on every siding, trying to find, like, oh, the gunpowder wagons came back. No way, no way. The art van or the art collection van.
Yeah,
that's such a cool thing.
It really is.
And there should be a premise of an episode about narrow gauge engines carrying art, and they use that wagon again.
Well,
that'd be very cool.
I think Sif said that season 21, the narrow gauge engines are going to have their comeback because Jam-Filled or Art was going to actually make more stations. So that way there was more story potential that would go on. So because I think that was the issue with season 18 is that there was only so much they could do with it. But I think also the Arsdale episodes in season 20 proved that you can still have like good stories with very limited sets, like for a particular railway. So
like what they did with that not Misty Forest, but you know what I mean?
Yeah.
The forest set they made where they had the rocks for the sheep to be at, they had the hill, and they had the whistle sign. They basically made this one set to accommodate the three main story arcs of each thing. And it was so cleverly done. And one of the most beautiful shots in the CGI era is Bert climbing up the hill in the wet forest. I was so impressed by that shot.
Amazing.
And it's probably the best episode of CGI series is Tit for Tat.
Oh, for sure, sure.
That was a beautiful thing. And Thomas's role is the best part of the episode.
It really is. I felt that's the one Arsdale episode that I feel Thomas's role was appropriate. It didn't feel forced. Thomas is on his branch line. Like, it made sense because, like, you know, it kind of transitions that it's like, here's all these different railways. This is what's going on. We're introducing the photographers, and then we go to Arsdale. So yeah, and the fact that Thomas and the Reverend had a conversation on screen, like,
and the Reverend saying, "You get a little too much exposure. I am not going to take your picture." That was just awesome.
Clever, so clever. Brenner just deserves so many awards.
This is probably not what happened at all, but I had like a thought today. Like, what if Brenner Audrey wasn't credited for those stories, so Brenner could get it past Mattel for some reason? Like, we don't want to adapt old stories or something.
Yeah.
Like that. I'm pretty sure it was just a formality. Like, I'm sure they wanted to credit him, but maybe it was that every episode is based on the Railway series with Reverend W. Audrey, so they thought that was the appropriate credit. I just really wanted to see his name.
I did too.
As Mark Morgan was talking.
Yeah, I wanted it as well, but the problem was I knew that it would be hard to put him in like as the sole person because the story would not meet the 8:45 time constraint that they have. So I mean, obviously, I didn't know if before they released, I didn't know if it was gonna be Andrew Brenner or whoever, but I was like, someone's gonna have to fill the gap. They're gonna have to put stuff in, and whoever does that will probably have to be the one who takes the credit for it. So, but I wish there would have been some particular acknowledgement to the Reverend, on top of the fact that it's like based off the Railway series. Like, oh,
he was
based on.
You forget that too. The Reverend was in 2 out of the 3 stories.
Oh yeah, like
that's true.
I wish that it would have been like acknowledging that like these 3 stories, yes, they're based on, but they're also written. Like these are different than every other episode that's that came out this year. Like because they're actually have parts that were written by him. So I wish there could have been something, but I can understand why there wasn't. So
but I hope they do it again, and I hope that it's always a big surprise.
I hope so, but I wonder if there's going to be. I mean, the fact that Christopher Audrey is still alive, like, I wonder what kind of copyright issues that they might have with that, and like what permissions they would need from him. Like if they adapted more stories from him, oh, I'd love it. That would be fantastic. But
I think one of the best stories they could do is Triple Header or Stop Thief, especially because if they extended it, I know there's so much room for those stories to have more life in them, especially because for a modern child audience, like Thomas chasing robbers, I feel like is something Mattel would want them to do. And that just fits into the storyline really well. And triple header, you have the 3 tank engines, you have Thomas, you have Percy. The fans are like, oh, it's Doc too. All people happy.
It'd be great. I mean, can you, if Bear was introduced and they were able to adapt James and the diesel engines like that, there's so much potential there, but I think that there's so much red tape behind it all that's going to prevent it. Like I don't see it. I'd love to see Jock the new engine adapted, but
the thing about mountain engines is to establish the mountain engines, you have to explain that Godred died.
Yeah.
Which is really tough because you can kind of go like Duncan gets spooked. An engine straight up died. You see the whole thing. He falls off the bridge. He is never found again. He died.
Yeah.
And in season 5, that was okay. You saw trucks die. You saw trucks fall into ravines. Their faces nearly fall off. You see trucks explode, but it's not that we can have things explode now. We can have violence, like dynamite being thrown at an engine. That's threatening. Like the limits are changing. Like we don't quite know where the fine line is, but it's definitely clear that in specials you can get away with a lot more than in episodes.
Yeah, but the things that they get away with are very attention-grabbing things that you put in a trailer or that you use as a thumbnail to get people in and to put, you know, slap it on a toy box because that's what's going to make people want to buy it type of thing.
And
so
Finding Nemo was rated G, and the first 5 minutes, Nemo's mother is killed by sharks.
Brutally. Yeah.
So ratings are, I don't know who does, like, well, you know, like all these councils of parents and critics and things figure out how to assess them, but it just depends on the overall tone of the movie affects the rating of the movie. Like if it's just nonstop senseless violence, and they rate it a little bit higher, but if there's consequence and meaning behind it, then it probably evens out some of the violence of the film.
Yeah, for sure. And if it's like, I mean, how would you explain Finding Nemo, like, without explaining why he has the bad fin? Like, you got to kind of go into that to address it. And so I think those things need to be a part of the film. So I think that I'm sure that they weigh into the fact, like, well, can this be omitted from the film and like not have an effect? Like, I mean, like for some things, like just senseless swearing, like, do they really need that? Like, does that really change the value of what they're saying, or can they take those things out and still get the same exact story across? So, yeah. Anyway, back to the film. Oh, I love Kevin. The Steamworks lighting is so much better now too.
Oh yeah.
It was so bad before. Because it was good in Nitrogen because it's like had that indoor warm feel, and then it wasn't like, it felt like they were outdoors once they were in there in season 17 and 18. And this is gorgeous too. But why this area didn't appear in season 20 bugs me.
This is why Kelly should have been rendered for this special, because Rocky cannot lift high enough to pull the ship out.
It didn't make sense either, because that thing was so deep.
It was so deep.
Nathan just texted me.
Oh, what did Nathan say?
He's mad that we're streaming without him.
Maybe you can fold it up like those bottle ships they put in bottles. Nonsense. There must have been a way to sail into that cavern. Aye, it must have been open to the sea.
I miss Joe Mills.
Maybe the entrance collapsed.
Well, if there's a buried pirate ship, there's bound to be buried treasure too. Oh, I love to dig a hole. Oh, yes! Yes! That's what I wish for. Oh, no. Perfect.
The very small engines, Rex, Bert, and Mike, were all at Alfred Junction when Marion arrived.
Magic Mike.
Magic engines.
Is she talking about us? I expect she's talking about Monk. Maybe. Why me? Just because? Oh, well,
I never really
don't wait for her to find out.
got Mike's personality until watching the Arsdale episode in season 20, and now listening to him now makes it it's even better.
Let me make one wish. Just one.
I make a wish, but let go. Oh,
Stop pushing. All I want is one wish. Please. You gave Oliver a wish. Little magic.
Can Oliver be the lead of an episode, please?
He needs to be.
The buried treasure.
Make a wish.
I made my wish, and he disappeared in a puff of smoke. My magic.
Hey Matt, speak in Skiff's voice is one of the comments.
Let's see. What should I say? I think I should say like movie dialogue in there.
You should use other people's lines.
Sailor John said never overlook a little engine, but I'm a little boat, Thomas. I'm a little boat.
Can you go like slightly higher? Or is it
I'm a little boat, Thomas.
that's better.
I'm a little boat.
Oh, lemons. Hi, lemons. And everyone.
that very night, one big green engine got a little bit right.
Henry's role in this movie is being afraid.
Oh, shocker.
Squidward is fake news. That's a great comment.
Oh, are you gonna tell everyone the story of tonight?
You were probably just dreaming.
Of your great adventure?
All right, so guys, I'm going to tell you about my great adventure. If you stuck around this long, then you get to hear it. So Jason, we went to Buffalo Wild Wings, and Jason suggested that, Matt, I'm going to post a tweet saying retweet if Matt should get a girl's number tonight at this Buffalo Wild Wings.
Let me add something really fast. To those of you, I don't know exactly who's all watching, but I know that there's many people in this community who have never like gotten close to being with a girl, and my advice is literally like, don't shy away. Like, be friendly and go out there. Like, you'll never succeed in getting into a relationship with someone unless you put yourself out there and try. So now that I made that disclaimer, that's why I encourage.
So after this disclaimer, after I get this pep talk from Jason that you just heard, I'm like, you know what? You're right. I should really go ham and do what I gotta do. So Jason asked me to order him another Dr. Pepper and leaves to go to the bathroom, leaving me all alone with this.
I set a timer for 5 minutes.
Timer for 5 minutes.
I was to stay away.
So, you know, I'm gonna ask for this girl's number. Turns out she was engaged. So like, always check. I try not to be weird about it, but just kind of like look at her hands before you
Ring check, people.
Ring check.
Ring check.
It was kind of embarrassing, but she said she was flattered, so I must have been respectful about it. But yeah, you know, just be careful about that kind of thing.
Did you ask her if you weren't engaged though? Would you have given me your number?
I didn't persist to that degree, no. But what Jason said is true. Just go for it, but check her hands first to make sure she's not taken. So be careful. But there we go.
It's a good story.
It's an ongoing saga.
We're gonna keep the story going, and episode 2 will begin tomorrow, and I shall continue my encouraging. And the goal is at some point during this trip, Matt will get a girl's number, and it will be great, and we will all rejoice on Twitter. So.
Oh my goodness, I'm a little worried about that. So. Right, maybe we don't have to play the movie anymore, but it is almost 1 a.m. Should we be segueing to the end of our stream?
Yeah, if you want to. Should we do like a quick Q&A thing for those Who?
Yeah, but Kikre made a good point. Maybe one person should man the comment phone and one person should look at the audio.
What? We like to ignore you guys. What the heck?
Oh my gosh. All right. We're probably gonna wrap up the stream. This is just really impromptu. But yeah, we'll answer a few questions before we sign off, and maybe we'll do another one in the future.
They say pillow fight.
Pillow fight? Okay. It's what they want. Give the people what they want. So
Best live stream ever.
for the people, like, we're gonna do it, so like we're gonna be hitting each other and the feathers are gonna fly everywhere.
We're
And you're just gonna
jump up
hear
and down.
a chorus of giggling. Like, it's what give the people what they Okay. I'm a little embarrassed. Okay.
We've had our fun.
We've had our
Yeah,
fun.
my pillow.
Yeah, you can have your pillow back. Okay, next question from the audience.
Okay. Jason, do you welcome Stanley?
Think about that.
I will.
Welcome, Stanley.
Okay. Do you own a fidget spinner?
How do they work? I don't even know what they are.
They're so my little brothers actually have a couple of them. So they're like little. They're weighted. They're like, you know, the three sides. They're weighted on each side. So that way, like, you can grab the center because it spins, and you can just spin it, and it will spin for like a really long time because the way the weights are set up and stuff. And so, no, I personally don't own one. I think that they're kind of pointless. That's just me. They're only like somewhat entertaining to me. Like, I mean, I've like spun one around, but then I'm kind of like, okay, that's like cool for like maybe 15 seconds. But after that, like, I hear people use them in tests and stuff, and like it helps them, but I just kind of get bored with it. So, but that's just me. I don't know. And so, have you ever interacted with one?
No.
Okay. Well, that answers that. There's people in here asking me to subscribe to them.
You probably should.
Probably. Okay, someone said, why do you have Lady and Thomas on the chair?
It's not lady.
That doesn't look like Lady to me.
It's Ferdinand. Get your engines right.
My custom red Ferdinand.
Oh yeah, customized with my shapeways lamp.
Flute Girl says, thoughts on Star Wars as a franchise?
Well, I really liked the last third of the recent movie.
Mm-hmm.
I thought The Force Awakens was really fun. But with The Force Awakens, I think it needs a prequel to explain what the heck is going on.
Yeah.
I don't know who Snoke is. I don't know what the government's deal is. And the government has been destroyed, apparently, in that movie. I don't know what it was before. And the First Order, how did it transition from the Empire? I mean, Rey's parents, that's a mystery that makes sense to be a mystery. But the fact that so much of the world itself and the state that it's in is a mystery, I really hope that's explained.
Yeah. I personally, I'm someone who actually likes the prequels, so like, shoot me, whatever. Like, but as someone who, like, as a content creator, I like the fact that George Lucas had a vision and he made it. Like, I mean, they made 4, 5, and 6, and then he had a vision of how Darth Vader came to be, and he saw that through. And so I feel like 7, 8, and 9 are fan movies. Well, I guess I should just say 7. 7 feels like it's a fan movie with a really high budget, so they were able to bring in the original actors. Like, I look at Kylo Ren, and it seriously looks like a knockoff YouTube video of Darth Vader that someone was like, I'll make my own version of him type thing. And it just feels like seeing like all the old, like the X-Wings and stuff in episode 7, and not so much like new things. Like, I mean, there was so much brought into the series in the prequels, but yet like episode 7 just felt like it was kind of like a rehash and a reboot of episode 4. So I actually was not a huge fan of The Force Awakens. The stuff I loved in The Force Awakens was the stuff that made it different from A New Hope.
Like I loved all the new people like Poe,
yeah,
and Rey, and Finn. They were some of my favorite parts.
Yeah.
But I heard that, I probably shouldn't say this. I just gotta figure out what Snoke is.
Yeah.
I don't know what that means.
My biggest fear is the fact that they're having each movie, well, 7, 8, and 9, written by different people concerns me. Because it's like, I feel like J.J. Abrams for episode 7 was like, I'm just gonna make a bunch of crap and I'll let other people solve it. And I like worry that the actual solution and the answers to these things are not gonna be like as like.
Oh, he was going to write the second one.
He was?
I think they were talking about it, and then he stepped down, and then Rian Johnson wrote the second one.
Yeah. And
JJ said that it was so good he wished that he was directing it still.
Oh, okay.
And Rian Johnson did Looper, and Looper is awesome. I highly recommend it. It has Joseph Gordon-Levitt and I always forget this actor. I feel so bad. He was in Red. I feel so bad. Maybe someone will comment the actor, but it's just Looper is really good. I highly recommend it. And I have faith in Rian Johnson. But good old JJ. Star Trek, Cloverfield, Star Wars. It's doing okay.
All right, should we go to the next question?
Yes.
Okay. Someone said finally, but they did it with an E, so it's fine. It's really fine.
That's fine. That's fine.
Someone asked, "Can I have your house?" We are not in a house. That's
we're in an undisclosed location. We got big plans.
Okay, so people have continually been asking if I will watch Tugs. So I tweeted about that before, and I actually have started watching it. I've seen like 4 episodes so far. I like it. It's good. It's definitely not Thomas, but I think as an independent thing itself, it's good. I can also see why it didn't last, because it's a very peculiar children's show. It's also cool to see the influence that it had on the Thomas series, because I can clearly tell that it was done between seasons 2 and 3. And so the reason why season 3 is such a stark visual improvement from season 2 is because it's basically the team had like a season in between to film, and they did a great job with it. So like I enjoy Tugs so far. I've seen some like music videos and stuff, but I've actually like stopped halfway through, and I'm like, I'm not gonna see the rest of this because this might spoil something in the future. So I almost don't want to finish it, because then it like, if I watch all of them, then it's like, oh, that's all Tugs is, and I like, that'll make me really sad. So it's like, if I just like slowly go through them, then there's still that potential. So.
Oh, you gotta see Trapped with Billy Shoepack.
I think I did, yeah.
Billy Shoepack is my favorite character.
That's the one with the barge gets stuck, and yeah, I did see that one.
Dynamite, you know, you guys are.
Someone said, "Don't touch Arthur with your foot."
They're not gonna like this.
Oh my goodness. Turtles. One of you should cut open the other and dance in his blood.
That was my plan. Why'd you have to expose it? You know, I was gonna make it a surprise, Turtles. Okay.
Turtles, you are a ball full of sunshine. That is. Okay. Someone asked, when is the next Community remake?
I'm not gonna tell you that it's when the Creator Collective ends, but I'm gonna kind of say it's probably when the Creator Collective ends. Let's move on to the next question.
Well, I'll also answer too. I want to do more with the community channel, but it's kind of like there's only so many hours in the day, and so it's like we're both running at full capacity on doing the stuff that we're currently doing. So to take time for the community channel either takes away time that we're working on stuff for Mattel, or it takes away our own personal stuff that we're doing and working on. So it's like, yeah, we could do stuff for the community channel, but then you're gonna, I mean, people are already complaining that they're seeing less of us on our own channels. You'd see even less if we were doing stuff for the community channel. Because Percy Engine is really the only one that can run it without the TCC affecting it.
And he's really busy with school, but he has been a rock star with
He really
the past
has.
2 or 3 projects he has run pretty much single-handedly. And he's just a legend for doing it. He's done a really good job. They're epic. And they're also really good because it's a lot of work bringing the community together to make a big project, but you guys have all done a fantastic job making them. Like,
yeah.
And the way he's been able to orchestrate it, it's just great.
For sure. And I think we've learned our lesson too, not to start a 45-minute long project that none of us were actually sure we had the time to complete. So
at the time, I did.
Yeah.
And I was accepted in a study abroad, and life just kind of, yeah. So at the time, I definitely did, but now I do not.
Yeah.
But I'm not saying never, but we just gotta like wait for life to kind of even out a little bit.
Yeah, because I've actually never spearheaded a community project on my own, and I think I could at some point. The problem is I'm trying to film season 3 of my series right now, and I only have till the end of the summer to film, so it's kind of like I'm just gonna focus on that. I'm not gonna worry about the community channel. But maybe this fall I'll be willing to take the time while I'm like editing and stuff to just, you know, lead a group project and stuff. I think if we should definitely try and do smaller stuff and have it kind of over time rather than just like one massive community project. So yeah. Let's see what other ones.
Want to do 3 more questions?
Yeah.
We'll do 3 more.
Okay. 46 people are watching.
Yeah, I think this is better than us watching the movie. It's a little more engaging.
Oh, now people are asking, when does the creator collective end?
Well, we'll skip that question. But, you know,
The question that no one knows the answer to.
well, cause we don't. Yeah, we have no idea.
So, will the TCC ever run out of story ideas? Probably not.
Yeah, let's answer a different question.
I'm trying to find
none
something.
of those questions count as 3 questions.
All of them are literally about the TCC. Someone asked me, will there be any more eBay items in the future? We've actually got a big announcement coming next week concerning that. So
we'll see.
Wait and see. Yeah, I mean, I have other things planned in the future, but I'm gonna.
We have a lot of 60 Trackmaster Phillips for $40 each, and we can't
each. And we're also selling Play-Rail ones for $50.
That's not what's happening.
No, definitely not.
Right. 2 more.
Okay.
Expire.
Flute Girl, to your question, I would say keep it on the down low. It's because I'm working on it right now. So for now, just leave it on the down low, and I'll once there's more to show for it, then we can maybe talk about it more. But I just kind of want to keep things, you know, under wraps, because I've got a lot of big secrets coming for my series in season 3. I don't know if I've told you all of them, so you're probably actually fine to share your stuff. But yeah, like, I mean, I've shared a lot of things on Twitter, what I've been working on for season 3. Like, you guys have seen a lot of buildings and stuff that I've been working on. But there's like a lot of stuff also that I've kept like really under wraps, and some people have been trying to find out and stuff, because they're like, I see that way in the background of this picture. Is that this? And yeah, but there's some people have spotted some of the things, but not everything has been revealed. And I've got some major surprises for you guys that you guys are just gonna love so much. So yeah. Tynes asks, how's self-fulfilling prophecy going?
Well, let me tell you, it kind of ties into this creator collective question. But I have a big announcement about that coming up once I do a little bit more filming. But I'm going to tell you, I'm pretty excited about it. It's coming together. It's really about something that I really believe in, and it's really meta. And I think if it didn't take this long to make it, it wouldn't have come to the conclusion that it has now. And I'm really excited. However, I work on a weekly show every week of the year, and it's 7 to 10 minutes long, and it's very intense. And it's hard to get my own stuff done, but I'm going to work really hard to see what happens, and hopefully more time will present itself as the year progresses. So, you know, if once I have more time freed up, I'll definitely be making a big announcement and going forward with some cool things in the future. So buckle up. Yeah.
There are not that many good questions.
Right. There's one more good one. We will answer that
All
good
right.
question.
Last call for good questions.
Make it good.
And no TCC related ones. That's like what most of these are about, and we can't even discuss most of that stuff. So like,
We either don't know because we're just strung along for the ride, or it's weird.
yeah, exactly. So we're not as knowledgeable as people think we are. So
Oh, Turtles has a fidget spinner.
does he put it with his peeps?
The peeps riding in the little divots.
No, he gets a fidget spinner that is made of peeps. He can spin it around.
Okay. Anyone?
Okay. Favorite steam engine or diesel engine?
Okay. Favorite steam engine.
Oh, and then another one is, what is like one of your favorite sets you've ever built? It's for both of us.
Okay. I'll let you go first.
That I've built so far, or that I'm going to build. So far, I think one of my favorite sets that I've ever built was spontaneous. Like, I love what I've done like with season 2 of my series. The fact that I like recreated so many classic season 4 sets, and those are fantastic. I love doing that. But like, probably the funnest one that like just kind of came out. Well, actually, okay, there's 2. So the one that I used in Gordon Goes Native and what was the Vinny episode that we did?
Bad Day.
Bad Day for Vinny, and the one TCC Presents Chase thing that I did, where it was like 4 tracks, it was a yard, and it like curved. That was like the first time I ever got to utilize my new set that was like twice as big, and that was just fantastic having like all of that there. It was a fun track layout. I could do so many different things. Like I could use it as like a yard. I could use it as just like, you know, the main line. And I really enjoyed that. It just kind of threw that together. The other one that was my favorite was actually the Vickerstown Sheds, which, by the way, I hate that shed so much. Like, that was the biggest pain in the butt to build, because I had to build that all in one weekend while I was home during school.
Yeah.
And then, but the problem was is every single problem imaginable while building that could have possibly come up came up. Like, I mean, I had trouble like with the building materials, and then I had trouble with the adhesive that I was using to glue it all together, and like everything was going wrong with it, and it took way longer than it should have. But the actual set that I built later with it was beautiful, and I love the fact that I got to finally unveil my evening backdrops that I had painted with that. And those are some of like my favorite pictures that I've ever taken of my series. Future-wise for my series, I've got tons and tons of great sets. I mean, you guys have been seeing the buildings that I'm making on Twitter and stuff, and like, I mean, I've got more coming. So, I mean, if you've got a favorite set from the classic series, there's a very good chance that it's going to be in my next season. So,
Oh, yeah.
Matt, what about you?
Favorite one. This is also the set that has caused me the most agony, but it's the Last Haven set from my Swashbuckler episode. It was that giant, big Lego warehouse. I had successfully built it, and when I was driving to carry it to the outdoor location, which was 30 miles away from where I lived, it just completely imploded in my hands on the way from the kitchen to the car. And I had to completely rebuild it from scratch. And it pretty much looked the same both times, but it was devastating. But when I finally got to shoot it, I was so happy with it. And because it was just, it's like so many of my pieces were used to make it. I had to take it apart again to do all the interior shots. So it had a completely empty interior when I shot it outside, but then when I had it inside for the stop motion, I had to like rework it for that. But I love that area. It was in my dad's. My dad moved to this place briefly, where it was where I shot the Blue Mountain Quarry and the Last Haven set, and I love that area. But unfortunately, he moved out of that spot, so I can't go there anymore. It was a beautiful place, and I loved it. But yeah, there's Jason's golden retriever pup.
Yeah. So my dear girlfriend Lynette is currently gone on a church service mission where she is helping people and doing stuff like that. But I don't get to see her all this summer, and I only get to communicate with her through emails once a week. So she left me her stuffed animal that I actually gave her when we first started dating. And so I brought this little puppy on the trip to meet a certain other famous dog in the community. But that has yet to happen. So that is why there is a stuffed animal dog in the live stream. The next, we got one more good question, Matt. So
What's the question?
it is, what are our opinions on Rosie's new paint and what's going to happen with her? Like, what do we think?
I think it's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to add? Or you want me to?
Well, I need to see the story to see how her personality has either been adjusted or expanded upon. But I think it's a cool avenue to take, and it's something that wasn't expected, and that's really fun. So I can't wait to see what they have in store.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I'm curious. I think, in my opinion, it seems extreme. Like, I feel like Rosie was kind of like, even though she didn't do much, she kind of had this role. I mean, she was like the female Thomas. Like, I literally felt like you could take an episode about Thomas, from like a good episode, and you could literally like swap her into it and maybe change up some of the other characters, and like, because I mean, you could just make her a female version of Thomas, like give them similar personalities, those types of things. Like, she doesn't need to be a Thomas, fan that's obsessed about him, but like, I felt that there's potential with that. It's just the writers never used her, so the fact that they're gonna like completely redo her just seems like extreme to an extent. But I don't judge a book by its cover. I'm curious to see how it turns out. I mean, it could be done really well, but yeah, I'm curious to find out. I wonder how much of it was influenced by like toy sales. It just, a pink Tank Engine is not selling as well as they were initially hoping, and so making her more red possibly could appeal more. I don't know.
No, I think they wouldn't reboot her if she wasn't popular.
Mm-hmm.
So I think if she wasn't popular, she just wouldn't appear.
Yeah.
Again, maybe they want to, like, it's just a way to make her easier to write.
Maybe so, yeah. But we do know from Sif that it's going to be, so she gets a new paint job, and she's also gets a new work location too. So that's going to be interesting. I wonder if it's like a new branch line, if there's going to be a specific.
My
like,
fear is that it's the Normandy branch line and Arthur's not there. That's my biggest fear.
Ooh. But what if Arthur comes back and they work together? Would you be okay with that?
I'd be okay with that.
Okay.
But if she works at the Normandy branch line and Arthur's not there,
there's going to be heck to pay.
I'm going to be very hurt. So don't take my boy's job away. He likes the smell of fish. If I hear any BS that Rosie likes the smell of fish and just replaces Arthur, I'm going to be upset. Okay,
Matt, here's my question for you. All right. Let's say season 21, Arthur comes back, and the writers come to you and they're like, give us your 4 best ideas for Arthur to put in our show, what would they be?
Arthur and Duck.
Okay.
It has to be a story about them.
Mm-hmm. So that's one.
Arthur is very impressionable, and having Duck show him there's only 2 ways of doing things. And Arthur's like, okay. But he takes it too literally, and then disaster strikes. Then maybe something, I think people have done this, but Arthur wanting to pull the flying kipper, like being envious of Henry and realizing that he is strong enough to do it. Maybe something simple, like animal related, kind of like Toad and the Whale, like giving Oliver kind of like a cool animal pairing. And the 4th idea, well, one thing that's like in the new map, it seems like Arthur's branch line goes either to the wharf or through the transfer yards. So I'd love to see like a narrow gauge Arthur interaction, which is impossible.
Yeah.
But in the world where I can choose the course of destiny, I would make that happen. But I think the most feasible one would either be like the Arthur and Duck or the Arthur and Henry pairing.
Okay.
Oh, and you showed me the unlucky tug picture today. When you posted that picture.
That would be fantastic.
I don't think it's the same tank engine, but a tank engine like Arthur and the turntable and Henry pulling them out.
That'd be great.
That was a great picture.
Okay, so 5th one though. Who would you not want to see paired with Arthur in the current TV show?
In the current TV show, probably someone like Porter.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know why I'm singling out poor Porter. Probably someone who's just not rendered well. Okay.
Well, how would you take it if they bring Arthur back, but he does not have exactly the same personality as you particularly remember from when he was first introduced, and like the personality you've given him through your series? Like, how would you handle that?
Well, I would understand because, in all honesty, I feel like Timothy, Paxton, and a few other characters have taken parts of it. Because being naive and gullible, Timothy is that.
Yeah.
And Paxton's also a little gullible and naive too. The only difference with Arthur is that he's a perfectionist and he wants to have this pristine record, and that's like his one claim to fame. But unfortunately, since that's his one claim to fame, there's not too much else of his personality that we know of besides he loves the smell of fish, he loves the branch line. He has potential, but I feel like some characters that have been brought into the show have taken the role that he could have played. It's kind of like when you have Timothy, it's hard to bring in Boko.
Yeah.
So you have to find, there's always new ways to bring stuff in. Like, I just think Edward and Boko, that's like a cool combination. I'd love to see something like that. So there are ways to do it, but you sometimes have to reimagine them based on how other characters fill other roles that they can more easily play.
Yeah, it makes sense. I definitely like what you mentioned with Timothy and Boko. I prefer Boko over Timothy by a long shot because I feel like Timothy's character doesn't fit his engine. Like, his size compared to Bill and Ben, like, I feel like that kind of like, oh, Bill and Ben, like, stop, like that. He's annoyed with them. He tries to tell them what to do and stuff, kind of almost like a big brother type of thing. Like, I feel like that works for Boko because he's so much bigger than Bill and Ben. Like, he dominates over them, so it's kind of like it makes sense that they were afraid of this new Diesel because, I mean, he's huge. Like, the amount of like work he could do instead of them. I mean, like, if he really was a big bully Diesel, like, but so
yeah, Timothy has not been at the clay pits as long as Bill and Ben.
No.
Like, and he has like, he's trying to play this. Whenever he gets tricked, he's trying to act like he's in charge.
They don't until the break. They didn't actually like introduce like when Timothy arrived. He's just kind of already there, like established. I'd love to see some sort of backstory, like
Timothy's adventure begins.
Yeah.
See that at Walmart. You know, that'll be it.
The sequel that everyone, you know, is highly anticipating that might come out.
The adventure continues with Timothy's backstory.
Can you imagine the disappointment? It's totally not what everyone thought it was going to be. It's not even based off the Railway series. It's just its own.
Get it. You know, Timothy and the Rainbow Truck was the highlight of season 18. I don't know about you guys.
Oh my goodness.
The part. No, I'm kidding. That's not even true. No, I really like Arthur. His design is great.
How similar is he to Belle?
Kind of similar, but her buffer beam and running board's a lot different, and the tanks are different shaped. Like, I'd have to look at them to be able to describe it.
Yeah.
Also, she's got water cannons and dolphins painted on her.
Okay, so like, get rid of those, but like,
they're a little different.
But I mean, Trent would obviously be someone we'd have to talk to about this, but like, I mean, compared to like making a character from scratch, I wonder how much like easier it would be to take Belle's render and alter it to create Arthur. So, like, when they take a class 08 shunter and they repaint it to be another character, I would so much rather they took Belle and taken the water cannons off and made a new character out of her. Yeah.
But she's a lot better now. Like, I thought I would never like Flynn or Belle when they were first introduced.
They've had some good episodes.
Now they've kind of broken in, and I'm like, oh, okay, I like you guys.
I like how they've been there, but it's not like, here's the spin-off Hit Entertainment tried to throw in another type of series into Thomas type of thing. Like, I felt like the pack was kind of a Bob the Builder, like, thrown into Thomas and what it would be like. And, you know, the Search and Rescue Center felt like, I don't know, another preschool show kind of thrown into Thomas. But I think they've done a really good job with them. I'd love to see them in the background more in other episodes. Like, just, you know, there's a yard scene in that where you just kind of like see Belle and Flynn just like race by. Not even mention, like, you don't like hear all this commotion. They just like literally just zoom on by. That'd be great.
I just want casual engine banter between the three big engines, and Belle and Flynn are just putting out a fire in the background, and they don't draw any attention to the fact there's a fire.
That'd be great. Can you do that in your series?
I will do that in my
That'll
series,
be great.
actually. That's the only place it can happen. We won't do that.
I'd suggest let's do it in the TCC, but you know, the action has to, of course, be in front of the conversation. So it can't be there in the background. You know, lose audience retention. So.
And my suggestion, if you want to make the rescue team more of a spinoff, is you have to home in on the distinct parts of their personalities. Like, I think Harold and Belle are really set, but you have to work a little bit more on Flynn, Captain, and Rocky and Butch, just to make each one distinct, and also make a rivalry between one of them. Make one think they're the leader, but they're not. That way, their dynamic is much more interesting because they're all helpful and they want to be a hero. But the funny thing about Flynn is that everyone says to everyone, oh, Flynn's fearless, he's a hero. And in every episode where Flynn is the star, he is fearful and second guesses himself, and he is not who you told me he was, ever, except for being red. When you tell me he's red over and over, yes, he is that, but he is not fearless. So I got that out of my system. Thank you.
Yeah, I don't think that the Search and Rescue Center is a lot better now than when I first heard that they were introducing it for Misty Island Rescue. I was like, oh no, that is a terrible idea. That is not Sodor. That's like, that switched Thomas into kind of this alternate CGI like that, and I was worried that was the direction that they were going to keep going with it. But then Day of the Diesels kind of brought it back, and it felt more like the Sodor we knew. So, while still keeping it a part of it. So, yeah. So, yeah. Check the comments.
Okay.
Really fast.
I'm trying to think. I'd love if they brought Murdoch back. He's just so cool looking. And
man, we should next time totally ask someone to moderate the comments and get rid of people.
Oh, is there some stuff going on?
Yeah. We'll ask someone next time to do that for us.
Okay. Well, it was fun to try. Thanks for coming out, guys. I think we're going to wrap things up, but it was like an impromptu thing. And yeah, maybe we'll try to do this again. Whoa.
Yeah, we'll definitely have someone moderate. But thank you guys as well. You've been wonderful. And we might be back tomorrow
Maybe.
Maybe with some more surprises.
See you guys.
We're full of surprises.